Hi, everybody. This is Judy Griffin, and I'll let the other my two friends introduce themselves. And we just want to do a quick little overview of maybe some tech tools and some technology and literacy. So I am a digital learning consultant out of the Avoca office. Marianne?
My name is Marianne Farrell, and I too am a digital learning consultant out of the Glenwood office.
My name is Lynn Hockenberry, and I am a literacy consultant with a primary role of specially designed instruction in literacy, and I am out of the Atlantic office.
Great. Well, I'm glad that you both could join me for our little conversation today. We were going to try a podcast, but couldn't all get in the same place at the same time, so we decided to use a Zoom instead. And so this is being recorded, and we will be sharing it on our blogs. Lynn has a blog, and Marianne and I also have a blog. So that's where we'll be putting this. So thank you to all of you who are joining us, not live, but watching this. I really quickly want to share my screen because one of the things I notice, and I don't know what you two think, as you go from district to district and you talk to teachers about the literacy standards, it's rare that I find a teacher that even knows that there is technology embedded right in the literacy standards. And the teachers that I talk to most about this are my elementary teachers. And maybe, Lynn, you could tell us more, but I think it's just that as they go to the standards for ELA for middle school and high school, some of these same terms are in there, but they may be just harder, or I don't know. Are they in the literacy standards for middle school and high school also, Lynn?
Well, I was just looking and thinking about that, and there are a variety of them, and I went right to the technology for literacy standards, directly to that particular set of standards as I was looking at the work. And the teachers that I've had a chance to talk to this about are mostly elementary at this point. Mm-hmm. So that's my focus will be around the elementary piece for right now.
Yeah. And mine will too, just because I've taught the class a lot called K-5 Literacy and Tech. I've taught that over and over again. So let me real quickly, Marianne, what do you know about that while I share my screen here?
Actually, I'm teaching that class right now at St. Albert, the K-12 Tech Literacy Standards, and that was a big surprise to them. Even kindergarten teachers mm-hmm. are responsible for technology and their standards with literacy.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. So I'm going to switch over real quick because I have a slide where I've pulled out some of those words that they will find in the literacy standards, or that you will find in the literacy standards when you look at them. So let me share that with you real quick here. And so if you're reading through the standards, these are some of the words that indicate that technology should be used. Things like digital text, multimedia, icons, engaging audio recordings, hyperlinks, digital tools, even the word research. Some of those things probably would be easiest to do digitally. So those are the things to look for when you're looking at your literacy standards. You two have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I just found one as I was looking at some standards, and actually I'll just share right away a site that was used. It was called Videolicious, and the teachers that used this were using Videolicious to assess text features. Particularly, the standard says under craft and structure, use text features and search tools to locate information. Use text features and search tools to locate information relative to a given topic. So mm-hmm. Just thinking about how you might be able to use that tool to assess something for your students related to that standard craft and structure.
Great. Okay, I want to start with you, Lynn. I know that you talked to teachers a lot when you work on your SDI literacy and just regular literacy. So what are some of your go-to tech tools or some favorites that you've heard teachers talking about that can help them meet some of those standards?
Well, I had an opportunity just to email a few teachers and get some information. And as they were looking and talking, they talked about some of these tools in terms of ways to present projects. And when you're thinking of that, we're thinking about the standard of using a variety of tech tools and media-rich resources. Some of the things they were talking about include blabberize, of course, the use of Google presentations. We have lots of work around Google. Glogster, something called Comic Life. Print Shop, of course, the use of podcasts and iMovie. Really were their top ones. In terms of some web-based activities, Fluency Tutor came up. That would be more about practicing and using, becoming, I guess what I'm going to say is helping us with that, the whole workaround tier and our FAST data and trying to improve some skills around reading fluency. So that's being used for that. Then, of course, there are a variety of apps, and I really think we should save that probably for another day and time as we're thinking about it.
I agree with that.
One of the things that in SDI literacy we use frequently is Newsela. Some people call it Newsela. I'm not sure exactly which one to say. I like to call it Newsela. For some reason that resonates with me.
I think that is correct.
Okay. As I think about Newsela, what I love about it is the ability to differentiate it in instruction using that. And when we're really thinking about accessing complex text and accessing text that is informational on a variety of different topics. And with Newsela, it allows you to go in and choose an article, current events, which is really great. And then it allows you to differentiate that content depending on the reading level of your students. And I have this handy dandy little book that I received or that I purchased at a conference called Using Technology to Engage Students with Learning Disabilities. And particularly in here, this presenter talks about, an author talks about, each article has a unique web link, and so they made QR codes, and then each student had a QR code that they could use to access their particular article at the right text level for them. Of course, readworks.org is another one that we do because there's such a variety of informational text available there that can support our students in learning content and getting adequate background knowledge to support the content that they're receiving back in their classrooms.
A lot of great ideas. Yeah, I know a lot of my schools are even paying for subscriptions for their teachers for Newsela because they like it so much, and the ability to just on the fly change the Lexile level, and it's interesting, it's current events. So I think that's a great resource. Another one that you talked about, the Fluency Tutor, do you remember, does that cost anything?
I think Fluency Tutor is free.
It is free. You can get a paid version that's has more bells and whistles like Newsela, but the original is, you can get it for free.
Oh, that's
it does a really nice job. I've used it myself.
Yeah, great.
So I was thinking that as we're talking about these different things, that what we need to do in our blogs is to capture in writing and links, so you can watch the video and then have access to the links that we've talked about.
Yeah, we'll certainly post all those in our blog. I think that's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Okay, anything else, Lynn?
I think that's it for me for right now. I think that certainly there's a large variety of resources out there. It's just knowing what to do and knowing how to tap into them.
Right.
That I was talking to said that their media specialist is actually the one who helps the teachers with those standards and does some of that work directly when she has the students for special time in the elementary building. So
yeah, and those our teacher librarians are just so excellent about all of that. So that's good. Okay, moving on. Mary Ann, you shared about a couple weeks ago an article that you'd read, and I've read it since, but I just wanted you to summarize it, and we'll put the link to this in our blog too, but an article called Deep Reading on a Digital Device. Can you just kind of summarize that for us before we sign off for today?
It's a couple of things. Deep reading on a digital device is interesting because for better or for worse, it doesn't matter what you think about it. We're reading more on digital devices all the time. Personally, I read almost everything right here on this little thing. Who would have thought that? However, reading on a digital device is different, and it takes different skills. And particularly with Smarter Balance, being on a digital device, that new testing program that Iowa has embraced, it's going to be more crucial that we teach students how to read on a digital device. So a few things I want to highlight about it is that, I don't know about you, but have you ever gone down the rabbit hole of the internet and then an hour later wondered, where did the time go? Because you're just clicking through and you're clicking through. Well, our students are the same thing. They're off and running. So there are some tools that you can help to kind of corral that. One of them is called Readability. It's a Chrome extension that takes out a lot of the extra stuff on that digital page, so it's easy to concentrate right on that. You can also use a couple of other things, is that with digital devices, you're more likely to be skimming and not doing deep reading. You're just looking through it. And I have to be honest and say, I am not a close reader. Many times it has bitten me, and I would think I would learn. I need to pay more attention to really know what I read, but that doesn't necessarily always happen. It's easier for that not to happen on a digital device. And so there are a couple of things that they talk about is, one, you have to slow the student down while they're reading it. So some ideas of what you can do to slow the student down is to have some kind of a highlighting tool available. Some digital reading resources, like I believe Smarter Balanced, has a highlighting tool in it. But there are some highlighting tools you can get and use. One of them is Read Write Extension, has a highlighting tool. Diigo has a highlighting tool. And what they suggest is that you get the digital reading into a Google Doc. And then once you get it into a Google Doc, you can do a couple of other things with it. Because besides slowing down the reading, then you need to concentrate on what actually is the text. So they suggest you have students read it and highlight all the words they don't know for vocabulary. And then you can use something called I'm going to get it, don't help me, document outline tool that's in the Google. Maybe I should share my screen and show that to you. What do you
I think that's an add-on, isn't it?
It's an add-on.
To Google
Okay.
Docs. Yeah, share that with us.
Okay, let's see if I can get my screen shared. And there we go. And share screen. I'm talking myself through this because it's the same thing as, and let me get what I want up. All right, so what do you see? Do you see my screen?
We do.
Well, hot diggity, I'm really happy about that.
And we see the article.
Okay, so here's the article, and I copied and pasted it into a Google Doc. So here's the article in the Google Doc. And one of the things that they suggest is using the outline tool. And what you can do is you can have students work together and come up and read through the article and come up with what are the main ideas. And then in the outline tool, which is under tools, and it's called document outline, because actually I thought it was called outline and it took me a while to find it. Outline doesn't start with a D. So I'm just saying.
Right.
So then if kids go through and they either write here, like I'm going to write up here, maybe this is about more reading.
You mean about this paragraph?
Yeah, this is the main idea of this paragraph.
Okay.
So then that's going to be in the outline tool. You use it with the text over here. So I'm going to make it heading 1. And then right now I've got heading 1 over here, my outline. So then perhaps maybe this part down here, casual visual reading, is going to be heading 2 as something that's going to be really important underneath my more reading. So I'm going to make that heading 2. See, now we're starting to build an outline. Which is really neat is if you click on more reading, it's going to go to the place in the digital document where it appears. So it can be turned into a study guide after you get all finished. Another thing that you can use in this is called the highlighter tool, and that is an add-on. So if you haven't used add-ons, you go to add-ons. I have a lot. And you can go to get more add-ons. It's like free shopping. It's great.
That's right.
Go get it. So here's my highlight tool, not highlighter, highlight tool. And you start it. So over here, students can decide who's going to be in what different color. And then as they go through, they can highlight. So what the guy in the article said is then there are arguments in this particular document. And so each color should be some support for various arguments. So this would support argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. And then what you can do is down here, you can export the highlights into another Google Doc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so then students can manipulate their highlights. And then another thing that they talk about is the importance of talking to each other about what's in the text. Mm-hmm. So after students decide what's going to be their headline, maybe they each decide on what's going to be the main idea and put it in their outline. Then they have a conversation about, well, why is your idea better than mine, and which one should we keep? So the more they can talk about what's in the text, the more it cements it in their memory. And then the last thing you need to have students do is reflect about the experience and the learning inside about the text. So that's that tool. And let me see if I can figure out how to get back to where you guys are.
Okay, there you go. Stop sharing.
Yeah, the top center of your screen, stop sharing.
But I got to get back into the thing.
I just wanted to...
Oh, here we go. Stop share. Got it. All right. Excellent. Learn something new again. So I would highly recommend that because we've got to get kids up to speed on reading digital text. It's
right. What do you think, Lynn?
Well, I was thinking, and as usual, when we all get excited about something, we start talking over one another, and I apologize for doing that. I love that tool. I love the ability to do that. What a great way for students to collaborate together. And I was just thinking about this, I'd written down another standard, which was the ability to use a variety of technology tools and media-rich resources to work collaboratively with others.
Yes.
That whole idea of collaboration just really stood out to me as you were doing this work and showing that resource, Marianne, and the ability to copy it and put it in a Google Doc. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I had no idea that you could do all that. So that's very
cool. There you go.
I think that would be a great tool to use anytime we have teachers reading something during professional development, so that they can see how that works as a teacher and then turn around and use it with their students. So it would be a great way to integrate some technology into professional development also.
Exactly.
Yep.
Very true.
Okay. Well, anything else? Because otherwise, we wanted to keep this short and sweet for our first one. And anything else you two have for the good of the cause? I think we shared a lot of great tools and ideas today, and I look forward to writing about this and putting it in our blog, and hope that people find that useful.
As do I. Thanks for including me.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right. Thanks for recording, Lynn.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.